Hello everyone, in this video I'm reacting to the problem with this
You
image.
may have seen this image before. It's quite
Yes.
popular, and on its surface, it's meant to be motivational. The
Yeah.
message being never give up, because
Yeah.
you'll never know how close you were to making it. This was the
Yes.
original intention of
I
the
see.
image, which is called persistence, and was created by a Brazilian illustrator called Doom. It's most likely, though, that you've seen this image in the form of a meme, maybe poking
Yes.
fun at the sunk cost fallacy. The
Yeah.
idea that one would keep
I
going
see.
with something solely because they've already invested into it, regardless
Yes.
of if further investment
I
would
see. I
hurt
see.
them more. Think of someone chasing losses at a casino,
Yes.
or continuing to watch a terrible movie they are not enjoying
Yes.
simply because
I
they've
see. I
already
see.
watched half of it. Other forms of the meme edit the image to joke about people who, for
Yes.
example, stop watching a TV show right before it gets really good, or even right before it gets
see.
really bad. But I want to talk about the original purpose of the image, because even though it's been clowned on a lot, there are still people who might look at it and think that the sentiment of it is correct, even if it's a little cringe and the sort of cheesy post you might expect to see on a Hustle Bros LinkedIn. I mean,
I see.
perseverance is a good thing, right?
Yes.
And yeah, sure it is.
Yes.
But is that what this image actually represents?
Yeah.
So in the image, it looks like the man is walking away just as he's about to strike diamonds. I mean, if he just hit that tiny little membrane of rock a little bit longer, he'd be rich beyond his wildest dreams. I mean, some of the diamonds are bigger than his head, but it only looks that way because we, the observers, can see from a perspective that is invisible to him. Not to mention impossible in general. It's a cross-section of an area below the Earth's surface, fully illuminated. We can see things he will never be able to see. From his perspective, he is no closer to riches than he ever was. And it's most likely he doesn't even know for sure there are diamonds to be found in the first place. If someone was certain that digging in a specific direction would net a guaranteed level of reward within a finite amount of time, it would only be sensible to keep going for as long as the reward would render the time and effort invested worth it. In these circumstances, walking away would only make sense if spending a single extra second or expending a single extra bit of effort would result in an overall net loss, even if the diamonds were then found immediately after.
Tom, that's good
information. Victory, a victory that comes at too great a cost to have been worth the investment. But these diamonds would set him and his future generations up for life. There's no way it wouldn't be worth it to keep trying. So the man doesn't walk away because of some calculation he's made. The man walks away because he doesn't know. He's in the dark, and he has been since the beginning. It's only illuminated to us, the godlike observer. Now, the thing about this image is that while it's apparently an encouragement for us to never give up, it can't be applied to real life because it's not reflective of real life circumstances. In the real world, we can't know if an effort will pay off if there is no indication that a potential payoff exists. And most of us aren't pioneers. Most of us aren't willing to be the first to put great effort and persistence into trying something that is completely unproven. Before Roger Bannister broke the record for running a mile in under 4 minutes in 1954, the idea of a human being running a sub 4-minute mile was seen by many as impossible. And of course it was. No one had ever done it. But once Roger proved it could be done, there were then many more athletes that did it following him, because now they knew it was possible. Not easy, but at least possible. When we know for certain that a payoff exists, regardless of how unlikely it might be, we're much more willing to try. Imagine you're one of the millions of kids out there who hope to make it to the NBA or the Premier League or any top division sports league and make your fortune and legend as a star athlete. Statistically, you are not going to make it. There's almost no chance, but, and here's the important thing, it's not actually impossible. Someone will make it. It's just not at all likely to be you. But to you, this hopeful kid, that doesn't matter. You know it's possible, and you've just been shown an image that makes you feel you might be closer to success than you think. So after school, you show up to every practice. Once you get home, you watch motivational videos on YouTube. And when you fall asleep, you dream about your inevitable future as an international sporting star.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to you that there are millions of other kids just like you who are just as likely to make it. You are special because your perspective is the only one you can see. This is all to say that knowing a persistent effort in a specific thing would eventually pay off for someone. Not necessarily you, but it theoretically would for somebody. It's not impossible. Gives a person a reason to keep going.
Yes.
And that is not the circumstance of the man in this image.
I see.
He does not know for sure that there are diamonds. He's just digging, hoping he'll find something. Another way this image isn't true to life is that in the real world, when one is in pursuit of a goal, there are markers of progress while on the way to the goal, even if the goal is still far from being achieved. If a person wants to get ripped in the gym, that will take a very long time, assuming they do it healthily. But signs of progress will show relatively early in the form of fat loss, muscle growth, higher energy and strength levels, etc., right? They might still be far from looking like a bodybuilder, but they'll feel the positive impacts of working out long before it starts to show physically. And that is an indication that they're going in the right direction for their goal. On the other hand, the man in this image has no way of knowing if he's any closer to finding anything, not to speak of diamonds, than he was an hour ago, a week ago, or even a year ago. He is completely in the dark and always has been. Continuing to dig under these circumstances would be delusional, and the only reason it doesn't appear that way to us is because we have this godlike perspective that we would never have in the real world. In real life, if someone opened up a shop and after a year of running it, they hadn't sold a single item or generated any interest in their products whatsoever, and yet the owner was still putting all their time, resources, and energy into keeping the shop open, the sensible thing would be to tell them to stop. It's clearly not working, and there's no evidence that it ever will work. Continuing to dig would be delusional. Walking away is the sensible thing to do. Now, this whole time, I haven't even spoken about the second man above, who still seems determined to strike it rich. And I call him the second man, despite him being on top, for two reasons. One, if you look at this image as a race to the diamonds, he is currently in second place. And two, he's just not that important to the illustration. If you removed him, the meaning of the image would be mostly the same. But if you remove the guy below, then the image changes completely. It's just a guy mining for diamonds. But that's not to say the second guy is here for no reason. He's been put here to invoke a sense of FOMO. Look, that other guy is going to get to the riches you could have gotten if you just kept going. But it's important to recognize that the second man is just as delusional as the first, because he has no more evidence that there is an ultimate payoff to his efforts than the first guy. He's just another man in the dark, and the gap between him and the diamonds may as well be thousands of miles for all the difference it makes.
Or rather,
now, I don't want people to take away from this that I think any effort without upfront evidence of an eventual payoff is wasted. There are many reasons to put effort into things that won't quote-unquote pay off in the future. Sometimes the effort is the point. In the example where I had you imagine yourself as a young aspiring athlete, I left out something very important. What if your primary motivation to play the sport wasn't that you hoped to be a star? Of course, that might be a big part of it. But what if the primary motivation was that you simply like playing the sport? In that case, the effort is the point. You spend so much time and energy getting better at football, not because you want to be a footballer, but because you like to play football.
And that's with me YouTube. I want to be big on YouTube, but I also love making content on YouTube.
Going back to the image, the only reason to embark on an endeavor like this is if the endeavor itself is the point. Perhaps the second guy will reach the diamonds, not because he is looking for them, but because he likes digging.
Wow. So thank you guys so much for watching my reaction to this video. This video was deep, and if you have a reaction, you should subscribe to my YouTube channel, turn on post notifications. Hope everyone has a great day. Bye.